Does the bell work? What is the coefficient of x? So remember, a coefficient is just a number that is being multiplied by an x or any other letter. And so on this one, first of all, one of the main things here is just not to put x as part of the coefficient. The coefficient here is just the -2, that's it. Okay? And then just like we saw in the lesson from last time, there is a phantom 1 there, but the minus sign becomes its sign, making this coefficient a -1. The 4 is its own term, so it's not even considered a coefficient there. It's just a constant. And then this last one, it's a phantom 1 again, so just 1 would be the coefficient. Again, don't put 1x, otherwise, especially if you put that on canvas, it would mark something like that incorrect. Yeah, the objective, I can get an 80% or more on the quest, which is really a test. I guess it's kind of like a quiz test, but it goes under test in the grade, so be aware of that. Just take 30 seconds and copy that down, please. So on this problem, we're going to do the order of operations, and the first thing I do is parentheses, which we do see a set of parentheses here, -2 plus 8, which again, since we're able to use calculators here, -2 plus 8 is 6, so that's still in the parentheses. That's a power of 2, and the only operation we have left is the exponent, and since it's a power of 2, you'd have not only a 6, but 2 6s, and that's what the exponent means, but it's being multiplied. Some students have been putting these down as addition, but it's multiplication. 6 times 6 is 36. That's our final answer here. So more order of operations here, and not only do we have a set of parentheses, but it's kind of a set of parentheses on the inside of that parentheses with that fraction. Now we see in that fraction there's nothing to do in the numerator, so I'm just going to keep that the same. It's just a 3, but I can do -5 plus 4, and you shouldn't be ashamed to put that in your calculator because it will do the work for you. That will give you -1. Now I'm not focused on that 6 on the outside yet until I completely simplify the inside here. That would read as 3 divided by -1, which I will now put into the calculator, and it gives me -3. Okay, so it's really 6 multiplied by this -3 in the end, and that's multiplication. You could just type it in exactly like we see it here with parentheses into the calculator. It will give you -18. Boom. All right, this one, more order of operations, and there is some multiplication and addition on this one. And when we see that multiplication or division, we know that the order of operations says that we must do the multiplication first. So, yeah, I mean, we got the parentheses, but there's nothing to do on the inside there. So then you'd move into exponents and then multiplication or division. There's multiplication. Again, you're not seeing that. So if you'd like to see that multiplication there, do it. That is 2.4 times 5.9. Just put that in the calculator. I get 14.16. So now my final operation here is addition. And remember, once you get to one final operation, that's all you got to do. So I'm going to take my 8.5 and add 14.16. So I'll just do that in the calculator. Although you could stack and add them if you'd like to, but I'm going to get 22.66 here. Here's another one. Yeah, we got some order of operations here. And start with parentheses, which we do have some on this one, with this set of parentheses. So you will do 4.4 minus 2.5 first. And whether you like it or not, you can't use the calculator. It will give you 1.9. So that's still in parentheses. We didn't really do anything with the rest of that expression. So it's still 2.2 times 3.7 minus 1.9. That takes care of all the parentheses. Now we look for exponents, but there are none. Then we look to multiplication or division from left to right. And there is some. There's some multiplication right there. 2.2 times 3.7. Put that in my calculator, I get 8.14. So now I'm left with 8.14 minus 1.9. And once again, I go straight to the calculator, 8.4 minus 1.9, and it gives me 6.24. Done. So more order of operations, and you could say, well, look, I'm going to do this set of parentheses with 1 divided by 4. You'll get a decimal. I prefer to work with the fractions. Either way, the calculator is going to do the work for me. So when I do 1/4 times 2 in my calculator, using the N over D button, it gives me 1/2 right there. So that ends up being 3 minus 1/2. And well, I guess I should put that in there. So 3 minus 1/2 in the calculator. I'm using the fraction button again, and what it gives me here is that improper fraction of 5/2. If you got the decimal on this one, I don't believe there'd be anything wrong with that. It'd be 2.5. Okay, either one of these would work. Okay, so I'll put an or statement there. All right, more fractions, and so I'm looking at that N over D button on the calculator. It's going to help me out quite a bit. In fact, we have an exponent on this one too, but before I look at that exponent, I'm going to do this set of parentheses first. So that's 5/6 and minus 1/4. So once again, straight to the calculator, I put 5/6 minus 1/4. When I do, it gives me this fraction of 7/12. So now I have 5/6 in parentheses to the power of 2, and that's divided by 7/12. Now, for those of you kind of freaking out about the division with fractions, don't worry about it. The calculator will do it for you. And now that we've taken care of all of the parentheses, we look to exponents. This is an exponent of 2. So in my calculator, I'm even going to use the parentheses here, but I'm going to do parentheses N over D 5/6. Remember, get out of the fraction, then close your parentheses, and then x to the power of 2. It's just that button, one button to the left of 7. I push enter, it gives me 25/36. Now I have 25/36 divided by 7/12. So you can keep it in parentheses if you'd like. It's positive, so it won't really matter. And so I do 25/36 divided by, again, 7, and I'm using that N over D button, 7/12. Enter, and when I do that, that's the division part, I get 25/21. And that's it. I don't know what the decimal looks like on this one, but I assume it's pretty ugly, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. All right, here's a first example here for the Quest review. Take a minute, try this one to see if you can simplify this expression, okay? 1 minute go. So we remember that this one is going to definitely need some distribution, but distribution is multiplication. So start out here, that'd be negative 12 groups of 4. Negative 12 times 4, that's going to give you negative 48. So that's our first distributive rainbow. But then we got the second one, right? So that's negative 12. And again, it's important to understand this is negative 12 times negative 7 x's. Where'd the negative come from for the 7? It's the minus sign right there. So that becomes a negative 7x. That's a term. So how many x's would that give us? Negative 12 times negative 7 would be positive 84. Now, do remember it's possible to kind of reverse these, make that 84x minus 48 and be the same thing, but it's a little bit extra work, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it like this. All right, here's an expression, but all we really need on this expression is combining like terms because there is no distribution. So is there any like terms to combine? And there is. I got the 5 and the positive 2. Again, that's positive 2 because the plus sign to its left. 5 plus 2 would be 7. And then I got the v terms, right? The 8 v's and the negative 11 v's. That is negative 11 v's, by the way. Which when we combine, how many v's would that be? It'd be negative 3 of the v's. And once again, some of you may prefer to write this as negative 3v and then plus 7 because it was positive. Doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Try this one again, okay? Simplify this expression, then we'll take a minute to go over it. Hopefully that's enough time. Let's go and take a minute and go over this one. So the first thing we see on this one is distribution. Now you gotta be careful. It's not a 5 that you're distributing. It's a negative 5 because of the minus sign to its left. So I'm distributing here a negative 5. And for those of you that want to see that coefficient of x, it is a phantom 1 right there. So that's negative 5 times 1x's, or negative 5 groups of 1x, which would be negative 5x's as your product. And then the next part here, again, it's not just that it's negative 5, but it's also being multiplied here because it's distribution by negative 4. So negative 5 times negative 4 would give you positive 20. Remember, if it's positive, we're going to use a plus sign right there as part of the expression. So now we got negative 10x's minus 5x's plus 20. And the only like terms I see here are the x terms, which I can now combine. So if you took negative 10x's and subtracted 5x's, you could just type that into the calculator as negative 10 minus 5. It will tell you that the answer here is going to be negative 15 of the x's. And then the positive 20 had no other like terms to combine. So this is it. And again, if some of you would prefer to write it as positive 20 and then just minus 15x, that would work, okay? Now, on problems like these, though, you would not put 20 plus negative 15x. That will not work on the quest, as far as I know. Okay, so avoid that. But as for now, this is good. All right, take a minute and try this one. 1 minute, go. First thing on this one, we're going to distribute that -9, and do remember that distribution is multiplication, right? So again, this is a -9 that we're distributing. -9 times 1 would be, well, -9. And then the next distribution, that'd be -9 groups of 8 x's, which would result in -72 x's. But don't forget that x out in the front. Now, what's the coefficient of that x out in the front? It's a phantom 1. And that'll be important because when I look now to combine my x terms here, the 1x and the -72 x's, that's going to result in -71 x's. And then this 9, again, it's not just that it's a 9, it's a -9 because of the minus sign right there, okay? So this is one way to show this answer. Of course, it would accept the other way, which would be -71 x's and then -9, okay? Either one of these would work. So there's our objective. Hopefully we can get at least an 80% on the quest. And hopefully feeling pretty good about that after those, what was that, 10 problems right there we just did.